Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us during the Lytham Partners Spring 2023 Investor Conference. My name is Ben Shamsian, Vice President of Lytham Partners. Our next presentation comes from Else Nutrition, ticker BABY on the Toronto Stock Exchange, BABYF on the OTC, and OYLF on the Frankfurt Exchange. Presenting from the company is Hamutal Yitzhak, CEO and founder. A copy of the slide presentation is available on your webcast screen. Today, I'll ask the company to briefly go through the slide presentation, and then we'll engage in a fireside chat Q&A. As a reminder, the company is available for one-on-one virtual meetings. If you have not already signed up, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com. That's SHAMSIAN@lythampartners.com, or visit lythampartners.com/virtual and click the one-on-one meeting request button. With that said, let me now turn over the presentation to Hamutal Yitzhak, CEO of Else Nutrition. Hamutal, please proceed.
Hi, Ben. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here. So Else Nutrition is leading the infant formula plant-based clean nutrition revolution with the world's first whole plant dairy and soy-free infant formula. We are now actually selling a full portfolio of nutritional products for babies, toddlers, and kids from 6 months old up to several years of age. And we are advancing towards an FDA approval for the infant formula, which is below 12 months, anticipated within 18 to 24 months. In North America, we launched in the fourth quarter of 2020, and we've established a very strong distribution and manufacturing partner infrastructure and started our global expansion in 2022. We are expanding our market share in the toddler, kids, and baby cereals markets, while we are soon entering the infant formula market through the FDA approval and creating a third alternative to dairy and soy-based formulas. And that's how we're targeting an untapped market. We have a strong industry and scientific expertise, and we are on the path to becoming a global scientific leader in our space, which is the clean nutrition, plant-based infant formula market. We have sustainable ingredients, and we are expecting to have 65% lower carbon footprint versus all our competitors, which are the global dairy brands. And we have a very robust global patent portfolio that actually includes 3 different patent families that one of them is based on composition, the other one is based on process, and the third one is based on usage. The challenge in our space has always been to meet the human milk nutritional golden standard. And that is a very, very far-fetched thing to achieve, because there are lots of constraints and limitations where you have to meet a very specific composition that consists of a certain full essential amino acid portfolio and a very specific essential fatty acid portfolio and the ratios between them, and the exact macronutrient ratio per kilocalories and per liquid volumes. There are lots of constraints and limitations. Don't want to tire you with that, but this is a very, very far-fetched thing to achieve. And on top of that, human milk is also a whole food, and it is digested as so in its whole form by the baby. So on top of everything, the reason why there are only 2 protein sources that have met these limitations and constraints is because it is so difficult to achieve. And these are dairy and soy proteins. These are the only proteins that exist in our industry since 120 years ago. And the fact is that they are quite problematic for many reasons, and they are also ultra processed. So we see that 95% of the market is based on dairy proteins, dairy protein formulas. The problems with them are being strong allergens, have a lot of concerns about antibiotics and hormones and all kinds of contaminants. Of course, the animal welfare, environmental issues, and on top of everything, they cannot stay in the whole form as intact proteins. So the industry has to break them down to the nutrient level and use actually a set of isolated nutrients in order to create a real human milk substitute. As for the soy, it's only 5% of the market. So we're actually mainly leaning on the dairy here. But there is still some soy formulas. They're also very strong allergens. They're controversial and declining because they have high level of phytoestrogens. And so there's a dispute whether to use them, whether they're safe or not. And there are lots of other things. They are extracted in a chemical way. And again, they cannot stay in their whole form. And there's the other option, the other ultimate alternative that we are proposing to the market. And this is a preferred solution because our core ingredients are kept intact, because we're free of all the contaminants and nasties that may be contained in the competition products. We have zero chemical processing and many other advantages, which I will touch very soon. In terms of the global growth, we are playing in two markets. One of them is the global infant formula market, and the other one is the plant-based food market. And both of them are growing fast. Both of them share the same need of consumers to look for cleaner options and more sustainable options as alternatives as far as it's concerned to the infant formula market. And as far as it's concerned to the plant-based foods, everywhere people are adopting all kinds of alternative foods options across all channels. And there's another important data that I want to point out. In the infant formula market, already 40% of the infant formulas sold in the US are actually catering allergies and intolerances. They're still based on cow's milk, but they are catering a growing group of children and babies that are intolerant or allergic to dairy, or from lifestyle reasons do not wish to use that protein source. So this is a growing segment that is already almost half of the market. And we are also creating a sustainable plant-based alternative in an untapped market. As we said, we have no other competition besides the soy that is really declining. Just touching the sustainability issue, as I said, in average, our core ingredients generate 65% lower carbon footprint than the dairy products. If we calculate the contribution of the core ingredients in both formulas, we can see that we are actually generating way less carbon footprint than our competitors, 3.65 versus 10 kg of carbon per kilogram of product. Let's look at the market in terms of the primary players in our space. So all the big players like the Abbotts and the Danones and Nestles of the world have the same product range that is actually based either on dairy or on soy proteins. There are different brand names, different products, but they're all based on the same sources. And there is Else Nutrition, which is based on a completely novel type of protein and also a completely different and novel processing method, which I'll introduce you to in a minute. This is a presentation of our in-market products where you can see our baby cereals, our toddler nutrition, and our kids nutrition, as well as our next product that will be in the market in about 1.5 to 2 years, which is the infant formula, pending the FDA approval. Our products are certified with many stamps, which we're very proud of, especially the Clean Label Purity Award, which is actually attests that we are safe from any contaminants and heavy metals or pesticides. It is actually testing about 400 different materials or unsafe materials that are found in foods, and especially in baby foods, that our products are completely safe of. And that's one thing that makes a lot of customers choose our products. Actually, we were the first baby cereal in the US to carry that stamp. And that's why we became a bestseller on Amazon baby cereal category just a few months after the launch of the baby cereals. So what is our secret sauce? We actually are creating a twofold paradigm shift in the market. One is a novel protein source, which is based on almonds, buckwheat, and tapioca. And altogether, they create a formula that has the same composition like any other baby formula, but just made from plants. The other thing is that we are avoiding all the controversial proteins and highly processed ingredients by using a completely different processing method to our ingredients. So we're keeping the product all natural. All the core ingredients are kept in their natural composition as whole foods. They meet the infant formula global standards. We're free of all the nasties. We are the most sustainable product and the cleanest label in our space. And the process is actually the most novel and disruptive in our space, because it's actually maintaining the natural way of nutrients digestion, just like human milk does. We're transforming 3 real whole foods in their natural form using an all-natural enzymatic or mechanical processes that creates a formula with a whole complex of nutrients similar to the nutritional matrix human milk in that sense. We're not using any chemicals or acids or any isolation of proteins or hydrolyzation of proteins or any derivative of ingredients, which actually creates a list of broken down ingredients or nutrients which are isolated and then reconstituted into a formula, just like our competitors do. We're not altering the ingredients' chemical structure. Rather, we are keeping them intact with a very, very mild processes that keep them natural and whole. And that's the major difference, besides just being plant-based. So let's look at our achievements in the North American market since we have launched. We actually onboarded our first distributor, KeHE, in October 2020. At the beginning of 21, we already were listed in Sprouts and started selling. Sprouts Farmers Market was our first retail chain in US. In January 22, we were already listed in 1,200 stores. And at the end of 22, we were listed in 3,500 stores in US and Canada, while in March 23, we are now listed in nearly 12,000 stores. So that's a growth of 1,000% or 10 times growth from the beginning of 22 to the beginning of 23. These are our partners in North America. We are engaged with North America's largest distributors in the natural food space, UNFI and KeHE, that cover potentially 60,000 doors. And with Gourmet Trading in Canada, this is our distributor in Canada. In terms of retail partners, we have all those members that are, some of them are big box and the largest retailers in the grocery stores like Walmart and CVS in the drugstore space. And in Canada, we were listed with all the largest retailers right at the beginning. So that was a very big surprise for us because we did not anticipate that to happen right at the beginning. So in the first few months, we were already listed in all those largest grocers in Canada, and there are some others that will be announced soon. On the online space, we are also selling on Amazon, Walmart.com, Kroger.com, and many others. And same goes for Canada. You can see here some data from Spins about our velocity in Sprouts, or it's actually not only in Sprouts, it's in the natural space retail channel. So you can see this is our bestseller, the Toddler Organic. You can see the velocity 52 weeks ago, 24 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago, and 4 weeks ago. And you can see the growth across the year with all the products, but especially you can see the Toddler Organic, which is our bestseller. Here's some other data about our in-store velocity and growth in the NaturalGrocers Channel. Let's look at the left side of the slide. You can see the unit per week per store per week of the Toddler Organic, our bestseller. It's more than doubled since the start when we started selling there in February 2021. And it's well over, it grew above the expected value of 1 unit per week per store. We're talking about almost 1.5. This is the standard of the category is 1 unit per week per store. Let's look at the middle, sorry, go back. Let's look at the middle graph here, where we can see that the annual revenue in Sprouts, I'm talking about Sprouts specifically here. The annual revenue per store grew 3 times in the past 2 years, fast approaching our natural food target of $3,000 per year per store. And as we add more SKUs, which we added now, we expect to cross this target soon. So you see very, very nice growth curve here in both unit per week per store and revenue per store. This is another data, the graph on the right side, where you see the number of stores reported on Spins, which is the natural space data that is shared by retailers. Mostly, these are natural food stores, and it grew from 0 in February 21, where we started. We had no stores, to more than 1,600 stores today that are reported on Spins. So what is our 12 months distribution forecast? In North America, we're anticipating to end the year with 20,000 doors. And we're, as I said, planning to double our points of distribution to 50,000. In China, we are expecting to generate significant revenues next year. In Australia, we anticipate to launch as an additional gateway to China with a novel product that will be launched in the third quarter of 2023. In Europe, we will launch, first market will be UK, and that should be also the second part of the year, and it will be followed by additional countries in 2024. So you can see the map here of our global expansion. We started in the US, then expanded into Canada, then went into China, and now we will start in the UK and Australia in 2023, and we'll expand that distribution into more countries in Europe during 24. In terms of manufacturing, we tripled our manufacturing capacity with 2 new partners, one in Europe and one in the US. We have a proprietary processing for demineralized buckwheat production site. And our expansion in terms of manufacturing already started operating in January 23. We're already running an ongoing operation there. This jump in terms of store count really kind of forced us to triple our manufacturing capacity. We had to meet the demand, which we couldn't supply. We had a lot of out of stock issues in Q3 and Q4, as some of you may know. But now this is all behind us. And the operation in terms of enlarged and expanded capacity is ongoing, and we are fully replenished in terms of our stock or inventory. And we have secured additional partners in North America and Europe for powder products, and we're now piloting with a North American manufacturing partner for ready-to-drink liquid line that is planned to be launched in Q4, both in US and Canada. And just an FDA update regarding where we are with the clinical studies. So the two preclinical studies that support safety of the ingredients and the infant formula protein quality were successfully concluded. We did that during 2022. And the clinical development plan of the infant formula actually includes the following. We need to do an infant safety study to demonstrate the safety of the new infant formula, which is planned to start very soon. We already have pregnant women recruitment waiting list in place. The recruitment age is 14 days. So it's very, very early stage, and we need to have that pregnant woman recruitment. The clinical study protocol was actually approved already by the ethical committee, the IRB, and we are now waiting for the protocol and statistical plan review and alignment with the FDA in order to start. We're also waiting for a comparator arm or a comparator formula, which is now in shortage for quite a long time, and it is not available for us, but we hope to obtain it pretty soon, shortly. The grass is generally recognized as safe. This is another process that should take place. So these are under preparation and will include the preclinical studies results, and the new infant formula notification will follow that after this whole process is completed. And as I said, from the moment we start the study, we anticipate to have an approval between 18 to 24 months from that moment. These are our leadership team, all our veterans of the infant formula industry in Israel, led the operations of the leading brands in the world, the Abbott brand and the Nestle brand. Our scientific advisory board consists of the leading KOLs and world-class investigators and researchers in our space that set the guidelines in infant nutrition on a global scale. They are heavily involved in all the clinical pathway and advising us regarding the clinical studies with FDA and additional clinical studies that we may be conducting in the near future. Same goes for the European Scientific Advisory Board. We have people in Europe as well as in the US. And ending the presentation with our revenue growth. So you can see the growth here in 2020, we generated almost 1.5 million Canadian. In 2021, we generated 4.7 million Canadian. In 2022, 8.6. And in Q1, we generated already. We generated nearly 3 million Canadian dollars. Our cash balance as of the end of March is 10.1 million. And this was already communicated. This is our capital structure. We have a market cap of nearly 90 million Canadian dollars. And you can see that for yourself. And just recapping with the investment highlights, we're the world's first whole plant-based infant formula, soy and dairy-free. We have award-winning products with achievements on Amazon for the #1 bestseller in the baby cereal space. We have strong global patents, based on composition, which is the strongest protection on food products. We increased our retail footprint to nearly 12,000 stores since the first quarter of 22. It's a 10 times growth. We have strong distribution and manufacturing partners for global expansion. And we launched in US in late 2020. We launched in Canada in the third quarter of 22. We launched in China in the fourth quarter of 22, which is the world's largest infant formula market. We are about to launch in Australia and in the UK in the second half of 2023, and anticipating additional markets in Europe, starting with UK. And FDA approval is pending on infant formula for US expansion, which is anticipated within 18 to 24 months from the start date of the study. That's it.
Thank you, Amatal. We have time for maybe just one question. Just wanted to talk about the retail stores. You're in roughly 12,000 stores now. Incredible growth from about 1,200 about a year ago. Great success. Give us something. I mean, what are the retailers saying? What is the feedback? Obviously, they like what they have seen so far, but what have you heard from them in terms of the feedback?
So I think the facts speak for themselves. For example, our range expansion in the largest retailers that we are listed in, CVS and Walmart, each one in its own category. We started with them only with one SKU. We started in Walmart with our kids products. There were two SKUs, but it was only one category. It's the kids products, the kids nutritional shakes. And that was in September 2022. And now they expanded our range to the baby cereals, and soon there will be another expansion. So that speaks for itself. You see that they are satisfied from velocity. They are satisfied from the revenue growth in store, and they see the demand that is truly growing. And it is, I mean, I think the customers have reached a certain point of a critical mass of word of mouth going out and a chatter between the moms speaking about the benefits of that product that really works for those babies. And that's why we see this growth. We have decreased our marketing costs dramatically during 2023. And still, we're growing very fast. So we see the demand growing organically from the customers, and we needed to get to that inflection point. And now we see it in its full presence. Same goes for CVS, where we started with them in September with a single SKU, and now they have expanded to many more products and growing into more of a full range of our products. So this is a real, I'd say, indication for what's going on in the market and within the consumer community that really see a great demand and satisfaction from our products.
Well, Tal, thank you very much for your time today. We greatly appreciate it. To anyone out there who's not already signed up for a one-on-one, again, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com, shamsian@lythampartners.com, or again, visit lythampartners.com/virtual and click the one-on-one meeting request button. And we hope you all have a good rest of the day. Thank you, everyone.